Hello, and welcome to episode 11 of the Spicy Homemaker podcast. This is a podcast about knitting and creative living. My name's Melissa, and thank you so much for joining me today. Today is Friday, January 15th, 2016. I am off today. Yay! I'm so excited. Monday's a holiday, so I have a really long weekend, and today the kids are at school. It's all to myself till about 3:15, so this is quite nice, and I'm glad that I'm spending a portion of that time with you guys. So sorry I did not podcast last week. I did say in the beginning that at a minimum I want to do it every other week. But I do believe every week will probably be more likely. But last week that didn't happen for a variety of reasons, but I'm here now. So let's talk about what is going on in the Rivalry group. We do have a Rivalry group called the Spicy Homemaker Podcast Group. Please join. There's a lot of great chatter going on there, some information. We have some knit-alongs going on right now. The Knit My Mitts is still going on. I think in the thread it says it ends today, but I'm actually going to extend that out to the end of January. So there's information on there. I have one fingerless mitt pattern, and if you knit that and post a picture, you'll be entered for a choice of any skein of Bohemia Fibers yarn that you would like. That will be your prize. And you also get entered in extra for any item you knit for charity and mail to me. Okay? There's more information on that thread. I will include it in the show notes. But also, we have the Comfort Knit Along. And that is... So it's going from January through March, the end of March, and it's just any item that you knit that brings you comfort. Now, the way I translate that is things that are like just the comfort knit, you know, the I don't want to say mindless because that's not exactly what I'm looking for. Sometimes I don't like that word. It may be exactly that for you, but I'm looking for things that relax you, you know, things that you do not have to concentrate so much on that it stresses you out a little bit. We all do a little bit more challenging knitting, but this is like your washcloths, your garter stitch, your stockinette stitch, those kind of things. I'm not going to be really hardcore on the items that you choose to post because I've had a couple people say that they relax by knitting stuff like KALs. They get lost in the pattern. They like a little bit more complicated thing that gives them a time to shut down and just completely focus on what they're knitting on. And I could see that perspective. And I'm not going to tell somebody they can't join the knit along because their level of comfort is different from mine. No. Go ahead, post in there. And I am going to draw a prize each month. And I don't know when that's going to happen. So January, I do know the prizes are going to be, I've already ordered a skein of Bohemia Fibers yarn, so I will be giving that away. And also, Sucre, it's stitch markers, and they are adorable. I know Emily from Fibertown, she always posts stuff on Instagram, and she has the little stitch markers, and every time she posts that, people just blow up Instagram feed with this. These are so cute. Where'd you get them? I got the little speckled donuts. They're coming in. And also February. Let's move on to February. I do have some plans for February as well. February is, the prizes are going to be, oh, this is great. So I talked on my last podcast about my bags that I bought from Awesome Bags by Granny. So I bought her large bag. But this, it's children chasing fireflies. And the fabric inside looks like there's fireflies on the inside as well at nighttime. I love this. And I got a coordinating notions bag. So Darlene, I told her that I had mentioned these on my podcast, and she graciously offered a medium bag of your choice from her shop. That is really, really nice. Thank you so much, Darlene. I have ordered a medium-sized bag from her as well. So she has the dimensions on her website, but I can give you a better idea of what they look like and what I would use them for. I'll talk about them. She's really fast. So I imagine I'll have that either probably this weekend or early next week, because I just put the order in, I think, yesterday. So I'll let you know about that. Also, she is giving us a coupon code. It's Comfort15, and it's good till April 1st. That's a really good deal. In fact, I ordered my medium-sized bag using that coupon, so it's already good. Go ahead and use it. She has some wonderful fabrics. They're very well made. I haven't put anything in these yet because I wanted to show them to you again. Actually, I should have just put something in here to show you. Next podcast, I will be showing you what I put in these and how they're working out for me. We got 3 months to talk about them, so there's that. Let's see. I just kind of dove right in, didn't I, today? I have a lot to talk about, and I'm going to try to keep this from going like really, really, really long, but we'll see how that goes. So I do not have any plans for the March prizes yet. If there's any donations for this, you'll find out, as I do, whenever I do. But right now, that is what we have, and I'll be getting some prizes as well as time goes on, as it just comes to me what I want to give you guys. So, okay, that wraps it up for knit-alongs. I want to talk about, before I get into my FOs, my finished objects, and my works in progress, I want to talk about my Indie Dyer of the Month. It's Amy from Bohemia Fibers. She is going to be the dyer that I highlight for January and February. So if you're new to this podcast, one of the things that I do is I look for indie dyers, and I find them. They don't come to me, I find them. That either they're doing something new and different, or I just really like their colors. For instance, my first indie dyer was Dag from Zia Wools. I'm just in love with her colorways, and she always has awesome mini skeins in her store that I buy all the time because they have saved my bacon so many times for swaps. But Amy of Bohemia Fibers is the one I'm doing. I say Indie Dyer of the Month, but it's going to be for 2 months, because I think that gives us enough time to really go over what she has to offer and just kind of stretch it out and really get to know her a bit better. So she does some really interesting dyeing. Her thing, she has some repeatable colorways, and she makes balms and lotions, but she does custom skeins based upon photos or pictures that you give her. And she will create a yarn based on that. And she does mini skein swaps. So we are doing it kind of like it's called a swapless swap, meaning you get something in the swap, but you don't have to return anything back. The only thing you submit is a photo or a picture, which all the swaps are filled. They're closed. I'm doing 3, and they're all completely filled now. So with these mini skein swaps, I can tell you firsthand knowledge, so many people want to do this, and they are enjoying it so much. I mean, it's such a great creative process to be involved in the yarn that is created, and to be able to knit with something that you helped create. It's a lot of fun, and it's very easy to coordinate. So I really hope that if this is something somebody's interested in, maybe you want to do it with your knitting group, your local knitting group. Maybe you are a podcaster and you want to do it with your group. If you do, and maybe you're just kind of a little nervous about the coordination of this, let me know. I've got this down to a pretty good art now. I can do this it's very easy. I have some things already in place. Amy is super, super easy to work with, a lot of fun. If this is something that's interesting to you, please let me know. I will help you all the way. I have no problems doing that. So the other thing I want to mention is that in each of the mini skein swaps that we're doing, so we have one 5-gram mini skein swap that is going to include 20 mini skeins. So there's 20 people in that. I'm one of them. There's 2 10-gram mini skein swaps, and those are 10 people each in each group. And I'm in one of those groups, not both of them. So in each group, I've decided that as Amy creates the yarns, she's going to post in a separate thread, and I don't want any chatter in these threads, please. No chatter. Okay, no chatter in this, and we'll have something labeled very, very clearly. But she's going to post the picture along with the skein of yarn she creates. And what I'd like for you guys to do is to vote on the one you like the best. And anybody can do this. It doesn't have to be the people just in the group. I want lots of participation if possible. Vote by the one you like. You hit love at the bottom of the button. The buttons at the bottom of the Ravelry threads. Just hit love on that, and whoever gets the most loves will get a free skein of their custom yarn, a large skein with their minis. So that's going to be available for all 3 swaps. If you're in the swap, I've seen this question several times now. You can purchase a large skein of yarn that you had created by Amy. You can do this. You can go ahead and tell her now, and she can just add it to your order, or she can create it after. Maybe you want to see it first. Either way, she's available to do both of those things. So let's see. Oh, I wanted to talk about how I discovered Amy, because I did not find her on my own. Nope, sure didn't. I noticed her because of Jessamine. I think that's how you say your name. She is Towel and Washcloth on Ravelry, and she posted in the Spicy Homemaker Ravelry group. It was a thread, share what you're knitting or crocheting. And she posted a pair of socks, and they were just a really beautiful color. And I mentioned something along those lines, and she posted the photo, and she talked about Bohemia Fibers and how she created the yarn based upon the photo. And it was amazing. Not the photo, it was a painting. But when I saw the painting and the yarn and the socks, it was just so spot on. And as soon as I saw that, I knew that I knew, and I think this was at least 2 months ago when I saw this, that I was going to travel this road and highlight Amy as an indie dyer. I ordered some yarn from her by a painting that I gave her. I gave her 2 paintings and had her create a custom skein for me that I'm kind of calling my signature colorway for the year for Spicy Homemaker podcast. If I do a swap with you, I will always include that skein, little mini skein of yarn. It's I call the color La Dolce Vita, which means the sweet life. And it's, I hope, we'll see how this works. I want to post some examples of Amy's work and pause, and hopefully we can, if this works, I will see you on the other side. I wanted to just say thank you to Jessamine for sharing Amy with us. And I also want to read a little bit of the interview. I gave her some interview questions, and I want to go over some of it. I think I'm going to cut it up into 2 episodes because I've got quite a bit on here, and I don't want to, I want to get into some knitting because that's what you're here for. But let me just tell you a little bit about Amy so you can kind of get to know her a little bit better. I do want a connection to happen with the indie dyers. This is, the indie dyers that I have met, they're a one-person shop. And, we have so many people available to us to buy our yarn from. Why not know some of them? So let me tell you about, okay, I'm going to go for the first 3 questions here, okay? So the first one I asked her is, when did you start dyeing yarn and what started your transition into selling it? And she says, some of them I'm going to read, some of them I'm going to paraphrase. She said she started dyeing yarn in 2008 and she dyed it for her own use, which I think a lot of people start out that way. She found Ravelry And she started sharing pictures of the yarn she made, and people would ask if she would dye a skein for them. And she said, before you know it, she's selling her yarn. Then she learned how to spin yarn. Before that, she had learned to spin yarn. And she said she has an Ashford kiwi that she takes out once in a while and a drum carder to make spinning bats. She says she doesn't do that as much anymore, but she occasionally still makes them. And she dyed the roving used in the spinning she dyed the roving used in her spinning. Okay, so then I asked her, how did you get started making these custom skeins with the photos and the pictures? Because I don't know anybody else who does this. And she said, I'm not really sure exactly when I started making custom skeins, but it really took off for her when she was commissioned to do a dye swap over on the Mini Mall, and I believe that's on Rivalry. She has a really good informational thread on the 5-gram mini skein swap in the Spicy Homemaker podcast group. So check that out, and there's a lot. She has a lot of links in there and everything if you want more information. She says she draws inspiration from things that she sees. Nature, beautiful photos and sunsets, the colors and flowers. Everything I see is a multitude of color. If you show me a photo of a green glass, I'll see at least 10 other colors in that photo. And after dyeing so many skeins for my own use, I just began to know exactly what dye colors to use. I needed, and she said, in what combination to create a skein that was a mimic of the picture she was inspired by. She said, dyeing the skeins to a photo match is a bit like painting pieces of artwork, which I completely agree and can totally see that. The yarn becomes my canvas. I sometimes hand paint the skeins, but most are dyed in the kettle. She says she's created skeins as memorials for pets and people that have passed on. I think that is so, so beautiful. That is just great. Those skeins bring so much comfort to the recipients. Memorial yarns are really a special thing to create, and I love making them. I've captured the colors of photos of vacations, kids, events. I've recreated master art pieces. Yep, she's done that for me. Album covers, movie stills. I've even dyed yarn to match fabric samples. And the last one, and I asked her, how many people work at Bohemia Fibers with you? She said, it's just me. But she's a mom first and a dyer second. Her son and her fiance do help out with the packing and other things, but she's the sole dyer. I tell everyone I'm the lady with a bad dye habit. So there's more questions that I'm going to share with you on the next podcast, but I wanted to start sharing some of that now so you guys can get to know her a little bit better. I have interacted with her quite a bit, and I just love her. It's been a really, really positive experience. So her yarn is very, very affordable. I know she has some clearance skeins right now for $15. That's insane. That's insane. So you may want to check her out. A lot of her yarns run for around $18 a skein. BohemiaFibers.com. I will put that up here. And let's dive right into the knitting. All right. So my first finished object is what I'm wearing. This is the Highland Peaks shawl by Mina of the Knitting Expat podcast. This was a test knit, but it will be released very, very soon. I think the test knit wraps up on the 17th. So let's talk about this. I'm going to include some photos at the end, and I do have a Ravelry page with this. I need to take some really good photos of me wearing it this weekend because I just finished it up yesterday. But okay, the first thing I want to talk about is the yarn I used to knit with this. I used Canopy worsted weight, which I believe was the perfect yarn for this pattern. She has two options, fingering weight yarn and worsted weight yarn. I chose worsted weight because I've never knit a worsted weight shawl, and it just kind of appealed to me, especially in the wintertime right now. And I was using some stuff from my stash, and it was just kind of more of a sturdy wool, and I really wasn't liking it. Started with Canopy worsted, and it is, I think I have some, yep, right back here. It is a combination of 50% baby alpaca, 30% merino, and 20% bamboo. It drapes beautifully. It's super soft. It was a dream to knit with. I cannot recommend this yarn more. I mean, it's just, definitely recommend this yarn. I think that came out wrong. It was wonderful. And I think, well, no. All right, so I'm kind of stumbling here a little bit, and I don't mean to. But I knit this on US size 10 needles, which is 6mm. And I used 3 skeins of yarn. So she has it in 3 colors. Clearly you can knit it in 1 color or only 2. And I gotta tell you, I was really thinking about doing it in just 2 colors. And I'm really glad I didn't, because that would have been my comfort zone, to be quite honest. But it was a lot of fun choosing 3 colors. It really was. Canopy Worsted has lots of colors, and my sister and I had a lot of fun trying to pick these out together over Christmas. So I want to show you how much is left though. So I got 1 skein of each color. This is how much is left of the brown, which I think they call sarsaparilla. This is how much is left of the white, which is not called white. Like I said, I'll link to my Rivalry page for the proper names and whatnot. And this is what is left of the lace section of the blue. So if you choose to do worsted weight and use the Canopy Worsted, I had to bind off, which Mina actually suggests in her pattern, and she has it in her pattern. She used the contrast color for bind off. So I just kind of stuck with what she did, and plus I had to. But I had to use the white contrast to bind off because I did not have enough. There's well over 200 stitches here in the lace section. And so if you want to keep it all 1 color, you're going to need 2 skeins. I doubt you'll break into that second skein that much, but there's no way this would have been enough for the bind off. What else? Okay, so this shawl would be great for a beginner. It's very easy. I definitely classify this as a comfort knit, but in the best way possible. It is interesting enough with the color changes that keep happening. It has the lace at the bottom. If you're scared of lace, don't be. This is very, very simple, and it would be great for a beginner. I think it's a very satisfying knit for a more advanced knitter as well. And also, all right, I'm going to share this with you guys. There are a couple mistakes in here, and most of them are very easy. They weren't anything too terribly bad that was easily rectified, particularly in the lace portion. That was just me. I think I missed a yarn over or whatever. It was easily fixed. But you know, if you've watched previous podcasts of mine, that I'm not a perfectionist in a lot of my knitting. But having said that, there are times when a mistake happens and I'm not okay with it. And that happened with this, and it was my fault. Ooh, is it there? I'm trying to find it. Nope, that's not it. And I would show you, but I don't want to take this off right now. It happened in this section. And if you see it on Ravelry, you could probably, it looks like a pucker. And it drives me crazy. I'm not gonna lie, I feel like it taunts me, and I tried to correct it. And what I think actually happened is that I don't think I made a mistake. I think I thought I made a mistake, and I tried to fix it, and it didn't need fixing. I thought I dropped a stitch, and I'm pretty sure that I did not. But what happened is I was doing this late at night when this mistake happened, and I kept trying to fix it. And after, I don't know, maybe the 6th time, the yarn was starting. It's not a delicate yarn, but it's not a yarn that you can manhandle. And it was starting to show. So I knew that even if I fixed it, that the yarn was going to show somewhere. So it wasn't happening. And like I said, I don't think that I actually made a mistake. I think I put a mistake in there, to be honest now. But it drives me crazy. It does. And, you know, I'll make peace with it eventually. But, it kind of makes me sad because as a test knit, I really wanted this to be as perfect as possible, and it just makes me want to cry. But anyways, there's my FO. And let's see. The next one, oh gosh, I'm so excited about this next one. I was so excited about this one. This is the best. To start 2016 off, this was just awesome. I love it. If all my knitting can go this wonderful, wow, what a year. All right, so my next one is the Hermione's Everyday Socks. It took a ridiculously long time to finish. Like, I don't know when I started it. Before Rhinebeck. That's crazy. I put them down and ignored them for quite a while, and for no good reason. I mean, I just was knitting other things. And this is a free pattern on Ravelry. I knit this with some Dyer yarn, and I love them. I have not worn them yet because I've been waiting to show you guys. But one of the things I wanted to say, and I'm really pleased with, is that the second sock just came out so much better, and it's for no reason than, I don't know, I think my technique's just kind of, I'm a newer sock knitter. This is only my third pair of finished socks that I have. So the toe here, I kept wondering what was going on with my toe. But you see that little, I don't know if you can see that, but it's a, I don't know, it's like bumpy, the line of stitches there when you start decreasing. And I was just really, I was okay with it. Wasn't crazy about it. But then this next one, it just came out very, very nicely. Even the Kitchener stitch, which Kitchener isn't a huge problem for me, but I'm just so proud of this toe here. It just really, and I think it was just, you know, practice. I've done a few, and it's just, they're shaping up more nicely. So I'm really pleased with these. Love the color, love the pattern, great. If you're looking for something that is an easy knit for socks, but gives you some visual interest, Hermione's Everyday Sock pattern. Lots and lots of people have done this pattern. So there's that. And for whips, that's all I have for FOs. Only 2 FOs, which was more than last podcast. I don't think I had any then, did I? Okay. So I really knit on Mina's shawl pretty monogamously. However, there was a distraction. Oh my goodness, I am totally on the Cozy Memories bandwagon. Let me tell you what, there is something about this. I was thinking about this before I started podcasting, is if yarn was a drug, then I'm totally an addict. Because, oh my gosh, I mean, first of all, minis, right? Like, you can get so many different yarns and see how they knit up. I love this blanket. It's so easy. I'm in my rhythm. I know how to, you know, how they need to connect, and the decreases I'm using. It's a fast knit now. It took me a couple squares to get what I wanted to do with this, but I will go over these. I don't know if I talked about how many of these I've talked about. I think I have. I think I've talked about these first 4 last podcast, which is, this was my first pair of socks that I ever knit. This is Blue Ridge Footprints. That's what it is. These 2 are by Katrina of the Yarn 30 podcast. This is her yarn. Beautiful, gorgeous. I love, love, love this square. Stained glass shadows. And then the rest of them, there's one here and these 3. These are all from Amber of the Yarn Junkie podcast. Now, you guys haven't heard from Amber in a while. She hasn't podcasted in a while, but she, and rightfully so, she's had a really tough time, and I am completely understating that. You know, she's posted about it in her Ravelry podcasting group if you want to know what's going on with her. But I just wanted to kind of think, we did a mini skein swap not too long ago, and you know, it's easy for people who didn't experience the tragedy to forget about it kind of quickly. But for that person, the tragedy unfortunately continues. And I just wanted to keep her in my mind and think about her a little bit more. So I'm knitting all her minis and making it kind of my Yarn Junkie section of my blanket. And I think that's what I'm going to do for all mine. I've decided. I think I'm going to take whatever I got from a person and knit all of them. So it's in a section. I kind of like that idea. Now, Amber put little tags with all of these. Couldn't tell you what they are now because Ruby got into them. My daughter Ruby, she's 2, and she really messed up my mini skates. I had them organized in Ziploc bags. It was great. Some of them are still fine, but Amber's, they're all over the place. I don't know what goes with what anymore. I know I loved her notes for the mini skein swaps. She was like, you know, this is, and I don't know that this is the case for this one, but like she would have said, this was my daughter's birthday socks, you know, and this was knit with, and she said what she knit with all of them, which, by the way, this brings me to another point. That is it for the Cozy Memories blanket. So I have what? 8 squares? 8 squares. Loving it, loving it. I am going to do on the next podcast how to make a great swap package, because I'll be honest, I just started swapping last year, at the end of last year, and I've done several since then. And maybe you're not like me, I don't know. There's a little bit of a learning curve there. There really is. So I'm going to go over some of the things that I've learned, and some things you could do, and some things that I really appreciated that other people did. So stay tuned. That's on the next podcast. How to make a great swap package. But that is it for knitting, for finished objects and works in progress. So, something I usually do community news at the beginning, but we're going to put it right here. And I did that on purpose because I knew I had a lot to talk about in the beginning, and I know some of you just want to get to the knitting, like what is going on? I get that. So now I'm going to talk about what's going on in our crafting community. Let me show you, or not show you. Yeah, let me show you. That's not going to happen. So there is a wonderful woman that I've kind of been collaborating a few things with, Colette. She is Woolly Features on Rivalry, and she also has a wonderful blog called Woolly Features. She's from France, and yeah, we've been coordinating quite a bit, and she brought to my attention, hi Colette, and thank you for all this information that you are passing along to me. I love it. She has been brought to my attention. It's called A Playful Day Blog by Kate. Maybe you've heard of it. But she is starting this year. It's called the Maker's Year Challenge. And I am going to post a link to her blog. Now, I know there's some things that I may mention that only some people this might appeal to. I really, really think this would appeal to most, if not all, people. I highly recommend going to her blog and checking out this link that I'm going to post, okay? I'm going to go over it quickly, but just even how she wrote this. And it's not a long read, it's a quick read. Do this. You should do this. The people that I thought of when I was reading this, that I thought this would be right up their alley, was Jenny from Tiny Paper Foxes, Isabel from Fluffy Fibers, and I know I'm forgetting a couple. I didn't write them down. Those are the first two I thought of, and you'll see why in a minute. So she is doing what she's calling the Maker's Year Challenge for 2016, and it is about creativity and sustainable living challenge. And what she wants you to do is document your daily making in 2016. You could do it through your blog, Instagram, Twitter, Stellar. What's Stellar? Anybody? I don't know. Didn't look it up. If you know, let me know. And Pinterest. You're going to share your projects and what they mean to you. And this is really about, and I am simplifying this a great deal, okay? It's about sharing and connecting with everybody in the creative community. She has a hashtag for it in Instagram called the Maker's Year. And some things I'm going to highlight. So she says, what counts as making? It's any activity that keeps you creative and practical. One of the things that she also talked about, let me see, did write some notes on this, is how there's a few things that she really mentioned that really resonated with me. She's talking about how creativity, some people are intimidated and think they're not capable of being creative because they're not highly skilled in a particular craft. And she was just saying how that's not true. Everyone's creative. But maybe your creativity outlet is different, and it will be different than most people's. Creativity to her is anything that you make with your hands, that you do. She mentioned baking, gardening, knitting, painting, photography. I mean, it includes so many things. Makers, what do you make? Don't downplay some of the things that you do that you may not think are a big deal. Okay, this sounds crazy, maybe. Some people are really into coffee or tea, right? And I'm talking like really like connoisseurs. Even making the perfect cup of tea or coffee. If you're really into that, that can actually be very creative. I mean, it's just about recognizing what you do every single day that brings creativity to your life. So, read what's going on in there. I don't think I can do this justice by trying to continue to explain it. She writes it beautifully, and I don't want to read it to you because I don't think that will do it justice either. So I'm going to put a link in there. I'm very excited about it. I have not posted it yet, but I want to do this. So Colette, thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. I think you guys will like this. So once again, that's Kate from A Playful Day blog, and it's called the Maker's Year Challenge. All right, moving right along. Yeah, first of all, did you guys notice the lighting? How do I look? Can you see everything? Can you see the colors? Jenny and Devin from Tiny Paper Foxes, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh my gosh, so much better. I love it. I can podcast at 2 a.m. in the morning if I like. Probably not going to do it, and you probably wouldn't want to see that if I did, but I could. Right now the sun is going in and out here. It's rainy and kind of warm for January, but I've had great sunlight, and then it goes cloudy again. So these lights, wonderful. Love them. So there is one of my goals checked off for 2016. The other thing I want to talk about, I'm going to do some mail and stash enhancement, which is surprisingly small for me this year, listen to me, this time. And I'm trying to think of, I hope I did not forget anything. I don't think I did on mail and stash enhancement, but, so Andy from Andre Sue Knits. So I talk to quite a lot of us in the podcasting community, talk to each other through messages and whatnot. And I've said this more than once to, I think, the other podcasters, to be quite honest. I feel like a special connection for a lot of the newer podcasts that started last year, which is the year I started. You know, we all kind of started at relatively similar times, and we know of each other and we support each other, and it's just, so when Andy started, I met Andy at the Rhinebeck Sheep and Wool Festival. If you have not seen her podcast, I am sure most of you have. You really need to check it out. It is phenomenal, and her whole family is crafty. It's insane in a wonderful, wonderful way. But she started dyeing yarn, and one of her daughters does too, and the other one needle felts, and they have an Etsy shop. And I've talked to Andy several times, and I had not bought her yarn yet, and I was thinking about that not too long ago. I thought, that's just really wrong. I want to support those people that I connect with. And so I'm late in buying her yarn, and for that I apologize, Andy. All right, so without further ado, the yarn that I've bought from Andy. I saw this skein of yarn and I just was like, oh wow, that is so pretty. She calls it Ice Cave, and it's on her Lush fingering weight yarn, and it is 20% superfine alpaca, 60% superwash merino, and 20% nylon. 430 yards, 100 grams. Oh my goodness, it's so soft. It is so soft. There's a slight halo to it. So it's mostly blues and grays that appealed to me right off the get-go, and a little bit of like maybe a cream, a little bit. But then there's this really cool, subtle green in there. I don't know if you can see that. I mean, it's just really pretty. I really, really like this. And I don't know what I'm going to knit with this, but I am really happy I bought it. Andy usually does one-of-a-kind skeins. I mean, she just gets in the kitchen and she just dyes and she creates these beautiful things. So I almost did buy this because I've been trying to do a yarn budget, which has been a complete and total failure. But I knew because she does one-of-a-kind skeins that I would be really sad if this was gone. So I went ahead and ordered it. And then, because I usually never buy just one skein of yarn, I mean, who does that? Not me. I bought these stitch markers, and they were in her shop as well. Oh, no, 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 please be here. They should be here. No, where are they? There they are. Oh, good, good, good. Taco stitch markers. I love tacos. Love them. Tacos, burritos, anything Mexican. Right up my alley. So I bought some taco stitch markers. So cute. And that good woman, gosh, when I met her at Rhinebeck, she was just so sweet, so kind and sweet. And she made me a project bag. And can I just tell you how happy it makes me to, I'm so excited that almost all my project bags are from my friends. So it's gorgeous, it's beautiful. It has this fabric on the inside, which I think she made a shirt of this, if I remember right. It's gorgeous. I love it. Thank you, Andy. And then, of course, she included more stuff. She included some mini skeins. Oh my gosh, they're just gorgeous. And I love, oh, the packaging was cute too. This is so fun. And what I think I'll do is when I start knitting these in my Cozy Memories blanket, I think that's when I'll go over what each mini skein is. Then I got some hand spun. Beautiful. Just gorgeous. Andy is so creative. Gosh. I always get inspired when I watch her podcast. And then I have I know there's a row counter in here. Oh, I think I already have that in a project bag. Yeah, it's not in here. There's an electric row counter. And then this is adorable. Oh my goodness. I wonder where she got this. This is, it says Knitsellanius. So it's a mitten keychain, and there's a little pattern. So you got this little wooden keychain here, and you knit the mitten, and you put it on the keychain. How cute is that? I love this. So thank you so much, Andy. This was such a wonderful, I had such a crummy day the day I received this. It was a long day after work, and it was just so nice to have a package of yarny goodness waiting for me. And then all these little extra goodies. There was some sheep stickies as well in here that I've taken to work. But it was funny because I've said that Ruby, my daughter, is 2, who is 2. I taught her how to say yarn a long time ago, and she can identify yarn a mile away. I'll say, what is this? And she'll say, yarn. But I was opening the package with her nearby, and she grabbed the sheep stickies and put them up to her face, and she's like, mine. I thought, oh no, no, they're not yours, they're mine. But she put them up to her face. I was like, what do you got there, Ruby? And she goes, bah. It's cute. I posted a little video of it on Instagram and had her say thank you to Andy. So that was my mail and stash enhancement for this week. Are you guys proud of me? If you knew what I did for the rest of the time, though, it's not too admirable, to be quite honest. But anyways, I wanted to show these pom-poms again. So my friend Amy gave me a little package of goodness as well. She's who I stay with when I go to the Rhinebeck Sheep and Wool Festival, and she will be visiting me at the end of February, and she will be a guest on my podcast. I've already told her that, and she's already agreed, so stay tuned for that. So I asked what I should do with these in the last podcast, and she was so embarrassed, she said, because she just used them as like box fillers to keep things from breaking. I wanted to use them, and I think she's the one who actually gave me the idea. She has a ton of these apparently. She used them to decorate a wooden sheep, and she's like, well, you could let the boys play with them. They could throw them and play ball with them. And I thought, oh my goodness, what a great idea, because they're always wanting to play with the ball in the house, which is never a good idea. Here, throw this at your brother's head. No one's gonna get hurt. You can use the tennis racket and hit this in here. Well, you probably shouldn't do that either. The tennis racket is probably going to destroy something. But they've totally been playing with these and love this. And I love this idea. And I think she said she's going to bring me a whole bunch more for them to play with. Ruby got a hold of one and just started pulling the yarn out. Maybe it's a stress ball for her. I don't know. What stress does a 2-year-old have? Got me. But if you want to see if something is truly indestructible, give it to a 2-year-old. Okay, that's my tip for the day. So I just wanted to share that with you guys, because I thought if you have small children and you have something, yarny and good, but you really don't know what to do with it, maybe you should give it to your kids to play with. They get pretty creative with this stuff. Wow, we might be under an hour. It's been a while. I've intentionally been going a little faster, mostly because I want to go out to my favorite restaurant and get some lunch before the kids come home. But, because I love spending time with you guys. I could stay here forever, to be quite honest, but that upload to YouTube would be like days. So the last thing I'm going to leave you with is just a little bit of idle chit chat. All right, so Periscope. This is okay. So I have kicked around Periscope. I watch Christine from the U University. She has videos on YouTube, and she does a Periscope every Sunday at 2 p.m. She is a professor, and she has phenomenal things on Periscope. It's always a learning experience. I highly, highly recommend it. I need to highlight that on another episode. I'm not going to go too far into what she does right now, just because I'm going to try to keep this somewhat wrapped up. But regardless, where I'm going with this is that I wanted, I've thought about periscoping. I'm not quite sure in what capacity yet, but I don't know how to do it. I've watched them. I just finally figured out how you do the little hearts. If you've ever watched one, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I thought one night, late at night, why do I think it's a good idea to do anything late at night when I'm sleep deprived is beyond me. But I thought, you know what? I'll do a test Periscope. It's late at night. No one's going to see this. And I want to see how this kind of works. And Adrian from the Freakish Lemon podcast had asked a question in, I can't remember, I think it was in his last episode, about kind of what was your favorite Christmas story? It might even have been in his podcast group. I really don't remember. And I started thinking about it, and it was a story that happened this year. I'm getting ready to type it up, and I thought, you know, it'd be easier just to like tell him. So I thought I'll use this to Periscope, and it'll be a test run. So Periscope, if you've never done it, is live. And the appeal is that you can interact with people while you're taping. So people can ask questions and you can respond back. It's pretty interesting. But typically it could be open to the whole world. Okay, there are some features in there for shutting that down and keeping comments, like not allowing anyone to comment, because people do go on there and they'll troll and they'll say some pretty bad things, and you can block them and that kind of thing. But I'm thinking this is just going to be like a 5-minute little blip, and so I'm trying to do it. So here's my iPhone, right? And you know how when you take a picture, right? Say I'm going to take a selfie, and you can make the camera flip around so you can actually see yourself in your phone. Well, with Periscope, I could not figure out how to do that. There was no obvious button on how to make it flip around so you can see yourself. So I thought, once again, no big deal. I'm just going to go ahead and turn it this way, tape myself. Once again, just a couple minutes, no big deal. Test run. This isn't for real. So I start taping myself, right? And I'm like this. I cannot see the screen. And I go something like this, you know, hello. Oh, and mind you, I'm sitting in my bed at night, 10:30 at night, 10:30 p.m., sitting in my bed. I have a t-shirt on for pajamas. You can't see anything but from here up, but it's very clear that I'm in my bed. And I'm like, you know, hi, this is Melissa from the Spicy Homemaker podcast. And I am, I just thought I'd try this Periscope out. I'm getting ready for bed, and excuse my natural appearance. I'm saying all of this. I'm sitting in bed late at night. I'm of the Spicy Homemaker podcast. Oh, excuse this natural appearance. And it hits me. I can't see anything that's going on the screen. I can't see who's joined. I can't see what they're saying. And I've realized it's open to the whole world. I flip it around quickly. There's 25 people on there in like less than 2 minutes, okay? It's like Big Daddy Banana and, you know, Sexy Mama in stilettos and people that were not of the knitting community. One Nitty Girl, I think, came in at the last minute. I felt like we were in a dark alley getting ready to be accosted. I'll be quite honest. It was a little scary, and I realized, I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Who? I just turned the podcast, the Periscope off, and quickly deleted it because there is that option. did a little bit of research on Google, figured out how to flip it around so you could see what is going on and who is with you. Figured out how to disable the comments. I figured on a first Periscope late at night, that might be a good thing to do. And you can confine it to just your friends if you want. But regardless, if you ever have any Periscoping questions, you can ask me. I can tell you a couple things, maybe give you a few websites, but do not just Periscope at the spur of the moment. It's live and anybody can come in. So I have no idea what comments were said because as soon as I realized it, I shut it down and I did not want to replay it and see that. I just, the things I do, learn from my mistakes. So anyways, I think that's it for today. Thank you for spending some time with me on my day off. And I really look forward to 2016 and seeing all the beautiful things you make. Until next time.